strength, dexterity, faith, intelligence. Long ago, the 4 attributes lived in harmony, until one rose up from the ashes and challenged everything. Attunement, the one true stat to end all stats. And today, we're going to be leveling only that stat to beat Dark Souls. I started as the Pyromancer for reasons I'll go into in about 12 seconds and name her hooked on pho. It was going to be phonics, because a lot of books, but there wasn't enough characters, so... Alright, the original idea for this was to level only attunements, obviously, and only use magic. But I also wanted to use spells from all the different magical schools, sorceries, pyromancies, and miracles. The problem is that no class is able to wield all 3 types of catalysts right out of the gate. Of course, any of them can use the Pyro Glove, but sorcerers and clerics only have enough int and faith to wield their respective catalysts and not the other. Further, clerics actually don't have any damaging miracles without a higher faith level, with the exception of the Gravelord's Sword Dance miracles. As such, I think the miracles are gonna have to wait for their own video. Anyway, the Asylum Demon and I play with fire, but he's the one that ends up getting burned in just 6 fireballs. I make a quick trip to my least favorite NPC in this game, Rickert, to buy a copy of Soul Arrow, then use the Master Key to open the Valley of Drakes and grab a couple of poppable souls. Originally, I was gonna wait until I freed Griggs for the free Sorcerer's Catalyst, but I was worried 8 fireballs wouldn't be enough, so I went ahead and also bought that from Shittert. 30 Soul Arrows and 8 fireballs total should be more than enough for at least the Taurus Demon. Assuming I can hit my shots. I clear my way through the undead pair, stopping for my first level up to 16 attunement, which gives me 2 additional spell slots. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to put in them yet, but hey, they're there. I was worried that I would end up using too many casts just getting to the boss, so I decided to just run. Why did I think I could make that? I've literally never once made that jump. Right, anyway, after flexing my speedrunning skills, it's time for the Taurus Demon, and thankfully I was worried for nothing. Half a dozen fireballs and a couple salt arrows rip through his health bar and gives me a false sense that this will be easier than I thought. I bring attunement up to 21, granting another spell slot, then play the most dangerous game of peekaboo known to undead. You think a wall will save you? This is Dark Souls. Walls are just a suggestion. So the plan is to unlock either Griggs or Laurentius, as both sell their respective magics, and in the latter's case I can level up my flame. I do have the basement key, so I could go open the door for Griggs right now. But I was feeling kinda saucy after that Taurus Demon kill, and I don't mean any weak sauce, I mean something good like Sweet Baby Ray's. I really shouldn't write these scripts on an empty stomach. I thought I could take on the gargoyles now. Problem number 1 is the Chandler, but windows are his weakness, so while he casts Linux magic at me, it's blocked and I can easily take him down. The second and much larger problem is the conga line of succubus victims trying to convince me to steer for my one true queen, Priscilla. But when I finally did make it to the boss, I died. Yeah, so this fight was a tiny bit tougher than I expected. It's really only because there are 2 of them and the cast time on my fireball is really slow. I wanted to focus one down, but I just couldn't. Thankfully, this early, Soul Arrow still hits decently hard. Or rather, the boss just doesn't have a lot of health, and after a couple short minutes, the Bell Gargoyles' bells are rung. More attunement and spell slots, and now I think it's time to go free Griggs. I make a quick stop at the Undead Merchant to buy the Residence Key, then use the Easy Bake Open Oven to take care of any dogs. I free Griggs, then learn that unfortunately the Fireball spell's AoE isn't big enough to take down the thieves through the doors. That's okay though, I still have magic. Here, Fido, get the stick! Get the stick! Oh god, it doesn't one-shot them! With literally no cast left, I make it back to Firelink. So Griggs here is able to sell me a variety of spells. Great Soul Arrow, great Heavy Soul Arrow. That's cool and all, but I'm too stupid to use them. I failed to take into account when starting this run that spells have an intelligence requirement and that the Pyromancer, while meeting the int requirement to use the Sorcerer's Catalyst, doesn't actually have the brain to comprehend anything beyond basic bitch magic missile. I do go ahead and buy it as I'm sure the extra casts are gonna help, as well as Oral Decoy. I'll probably find a use for it. I wanted to use Fall Control to make a magic foot joke here, but I'm not able to cast that, so all I can say is, who's laughing now, Lautrec? Next, I clear my way through Darkroot Garden and grab the Wolf Ring. The extra poise will probably help with the dogs in Capper's Arena. I wasn't honestly 100% sure Oral Decoy worked on the dogs, but testing out here, it does, so poise plus a distraction, if I can get it off, will make this an easy fight. Well, that didn't go as planned. Excuse me? The boss is affected by it too? Really? Hold on, maybe that was a bug. No, he's actually distracted by Oral Decoy. Okay, well, that makes things really easy, at least once the dogs are taken care of. I mean, to be fair, the dogs are the hard part of the fight anyway, but wow, that is interesting. I feel like there are many ways to humiliate this boss. Down in the depths, I free Laurentius, then back in Firelink by Fireball, Combustion, and Fire Orb, with just enough souls left over to upgrade my glove one time. Now, I'm ready to bring the heat. I wanted to buy the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring as well, but that's expensive. Fortunately, the Gaping Dragon is a super easy early boss that's also nearby, so I return to the depths, making sure to dive deep into the Butcher's meat shaft, then tell this channeler he's got some fire dance moves. For Toothful here, the strat was to hit him in the head, then as he charges, run to the side, throw a couple fireballs or orbs or whatever, then run away and bait the head slam again. Rinse and repeat. Since that is pretty much the whole fight, I just want to take this time to mention again that I have made a game. Full disclosure, the word game is in massive air quotes, it's more like an art project and maybe 15 minutes long, but it would mean the world to me if you could check it out. It'll help support me and the channel directly, but I really don't want to get anybody's hopes up or misguide them. It's not, the most amazing game ever made, it's just a tiny little project that I wanted to make to hold myself accountable to finishing a project. Please do not feel obligated to buy it at all, but the link is in the description if you want to check it out. Anyway, with an extra 25,000 souls banked, I climb my way out of the depths and back to Griggs to buy his overpriced class ring, then use what's left to get my flame to +5. Next, I head back to Darkroot Garden and take on the Moonlight Butterfly, and holy shit, that almost killed me. That would have been embarrassing. Anyway, Sundark Lettuce Ground doesn't even get a chance to land, we just lob Molten Death at it until it dies. More levels into Attunement, then we contemplate our next move. If you haven't noticed, I've been avoiding the elephant-sized spider in the room. I don't honestly know if my current setup will be enough to take her down, and by current setup, I mean 60 soul arrows. Without Logan, I'm not able to get any more copies of that spell, and he's in Sin's Fortress, which is of course after Quelaag. But not all hope is lost, there are still some things I can do. First, I take on the Hydra, which is a bit scary as I'm basically a glass BB gun at this point, but after taking out the problematic head, everything falls into place. The Dust Crown ring might be useful as it doubles our cast at the cost of half our HP, though I would need to either remove the Bellowing Dragon Crest ring resulting in less damage, or break the FAP ring like it's December 1st. Either way, just another trick up my sleeve for now. I free Dusk, who has about as much importance to me as a wet sock, but her crown, now that's what I really want. We all know that the bosses in this game can be one-shot, shameless plug here, so I decided prior to this run that I wouldn't use Hyper Mode unless it was absolutely necessary. Specifically, I meant the insane boost from RTSR and or Power Within. Next, I climb the back way up Darkroot Garden, something I basically never do. Fun fact, this door doesn't open from this side. I'm sure everyone knew that, but I was kind of curious and have never tried it. I probably have enough casts for Sif, right? No, I don't. Doesn't help that I missed like half of the ones I tried, too. Bone out, Attunement, additional spell slot, join Forest Hunters to make the run back easier, and Sif jumps out of the arena and surprise attack kills me. Cool. Love this game. Jane, could you put in that one meme, the one to mimic the feeling of this fight?
Failure!
Perfect, thanks. With Sif defeated, that's 40,000 souls I used to level my flame up to +10, which is currently useless against Quelaag, but it's a good thing she's not the next boss. The ghosts of New Londo shrug off soul arrows like it's nothing, so I thought this would be a pain. They do not like fire. Like, at all. I was a bit worried about the ghost house specifically, thinking I was going to become a 6-digit entry on a certain website, but then I remembered if I just run by a lot of them, they will follow and just kind of carpet bomb them with fire orbs, clearing out most of the ghosts. On the roof, Ingward refuses to give me the key. That was the wrong answer. At this point, since I'm right here, I do go ahead and grab the red Tearstone ring just in case. I then make a quick trip down to Blighttown to talk to Quaylana as she has spawned since my flame is +10. From her, I buy another copy of Combustion and Great Combustion for extra firepower, pun intended. I also grab Poison Mist from a corpse nearby, which, believe it or not, will see some use in this run. I equip 2 copies of Fireball, 2 copies of Combustion, Fire Orb, Great Combustion, and 2 copies of Soul Arrow. That should be more than enough for the 4 Kings of New Londo. To be honest, I was a little surprised at how low my damage was. 310 on a Great Combustion cast feels kinda crappy. I wasn't even able to kill the first one before the second spawn, but keeping a level head, I die. Second attempt, things looked much more promising, but then disaster struck. The boss was one-shot, but I had 0 bullets in the chamber. I didn't pay attention to my cast remaining and got blown away. It's fine, the next try I no-hit the boss, and by no-hit I mean I didn't even get to the fight because for the first time in literally ever, I hit the floor on the way down. Game? Game. You and me need to have a little talk. I am this close to turning you into a manhole cover hurtling through space, okay? Fourth, or third, depending on your count, try, the 4 kings get sent to the Shadow Realm. Again, they get sent there again. I spend all my souls to get attunement to 45, unlocking a 9th spell slot, then make my way back down to Blighttown. This game is peak, I have no complaints at all. I buy another copy of Fireball, not that it will help me in the upcoming fight, then get a visual representation of what it's like to say a single negative thing about Dark Souls 2. So, As I am sure you are aware, Quelaag is completely immune to fire damage, which means my only source of damage are the 60 soul arrows I have. Oh no. Right, let me just bust out my trusty TI-84 here. 44 times 60, carry the 1, yep, I'm boned. I flat out cannot do enough damage to beat her here with just Soul Arrow, even with it being boosted by the Dust Crown and Bellowing Dragon Crest Ring. But that's not all we can do. In fact, there are several answers to this problem. The first and most obvious is to backtrack through Blighttown to grab power within, boosting our damage even further. Mathematically, we now do enough damage, but the problem is the buff will wear off before we can cast enough to kill her, and beyond that, it's not like she's gonna just sit there while we pelt her with soul arrows. Or will she? If we free aim just right, we can hit her in her ugly half, causing more damage and staggering her. This actually deals more damage than a regular hit with power within on, so I didn't actually need to go get it, but the drawback is she does get a fraction of a second to move, so it's possible she can slip out of the loop. But thankfully for me, that didn't happen and Quelaag is cleared. With this bell rung, I pledge myself to the fair lady for another Pyromancy, Great Chaos Fireball. Honestly, the biggest use it has is taking care of these guys in one cast, as I have to run back to Quaylana multiple times in this run. Speaking of, from her, I buy Great Fireball. I'm sure I used it at some point, but it was so unremarkable I don't remember. Right, time for Sin's Fortress. Honestly, it's pretty uneventful. That being said, I do free Logan so I can buy some spells from him later. Well, spells, I mean spell. I don't have the int for any of the other ones except his copy of Soul Arrow. Damage does suck, but 30 extra casts will always be helpful either way. Now I get one more level in Attunement, and it's time for the Iron Golem. I'm curious to know what Soul Arrow does though. Yep, that's about what I expected. He asked me how to start one of those 1000-degree iron ball challenges, but I don't think he liked my advice. I passed 50 Attunement, which gives me my 10th and final spell slot. I didn't realize it was the last one until much later, but I'm gonna be honest, 10 is kinda overkill and getting to the point where I have to memorize the order, and by that I mean I can't remember the order and then flip through them too fast in the heat of battle only to accidentally pass the one that I need. Round 2 with the Gargoyles, and I am far more powerful than last time. Literally 3 casts from Great Combustion is enough. Unfortunately for all my power, I still can't beat my own stupidity. I turn to try and roll, which of course translates to instant backstab. Seriously, every time I do the rafters, it's either instant death or speedrun victory. It feels like there's no in between. I don't have a shield to parry the archer, so I decided to try and bait him off the ledge, but I'm not skilled enough for that either. Luckily, 2 combustions is enough to commit Gwyn on him. Next up is O and S, which I was not worried about. Smo has a weakness to fire, and Ornstein doesn't have that much health. It's just a matter of keeping them separated and taking careful shots. Smo was pretty shovel happy in this fight, so that's annoying, but nothing being aware of my surroundings doesn't fix. Phase 2, Super Smo is no problem, just run at him to bait the overhead slam, run under him, and then cast Taco Bell magic. After enough 5-layer burritos, he'll excuse himself to use the restroom. Taco Bell, I love your food, please sponsor me, these are just shitty jokes. Peak game, no complaints, 10 out of 10. Damn, lady, what do you wear, a size Super Bowl? So, Boobs McKenzie here has given me the ability to warp, and please let me know in the comments if you get that reference, I'm not that old, right? With the power of instant transmission, I blink to Quaylana like a real mage and upgrade my flame to plus 13, then return to Firelink to buy some spells from Big Cat Logan. What do you mean unable to learn? The basic framework? Look, I'm literally casting right, I have learned this spell, teach me, old man! If you won't teach me, your assistant here gets the fire. Oh, you don't negotiate with pyromancers, huh? Well, sorry Griggs, blame Logan for this one. I told you, I'm not to be messed with. So yeah, I legitimately forgot that Logan won't teach you sorceries if your int is below 15, which is the starting stat for the sorcerer, so I honestly just never noticed. Well, there goes more soul arrows, I guess. Hey Frampt, what'll 100 souls give me? They need a shower. I placed the Lord Vessels to dissolve the bears and figured the next target would be Seath. For no reason, I just think he would be the easiest one. Thankfully, I don't have a problem getting to him. A Great Combustion takes out the Crystal Hollows, no problem. Also, I do want to show something. In a few of my videos, I get comments about why I don't just stand in the safe zone of Seath's first encounter and use range to take him out. Because you can't. He instantly regenerates his health. You need to hit him with something that does like a bajillion damage instantly, and as strong as Chaos Storm and the like are, they won't do his whole health bar in a single hit. Fireball! Oh, I didn't think that would work. I kinda wanted to try Poison Mist. Oh well. Grab tower key, watch Lizard Man fall off ladder, move up staircase, open bookcase, invent fire, eradicate food poisoning from tonight's dinner, and boss time. I tried to poison him just because I had the spell equipped, but that didn't work. As I expected though, Seath was ludicrously easy. I did almost die at the end because he did his tail swipe in a weird position, but like, the actual time it took to kill him was about 20 seconds. Another trip to Quaylana, another couple upgrades to my flame. This time I'm finally able to get it to plus 15, meaning it's ready to be ascended. You know, if I could afford it. I also buy Fire Whip and another copy of Fire Orb. The next great soul will be Nito, so it's off to the catacombs. Unsurprisingly, everything is easy. Did you know necromancers are highly flammable? Something weird did happen though. The one on the bridge just wasn't there this time. When reviewing the footage, I can see he was there, sorta, but then he just wasn't. I did get 1,000 souls randomly, and according to the wiki, that's how much there were, so I guess he just kinda fell off? Idiot. Patches was also here, and I really didn't want him to be. I attempted to find an angle to poison him, but couldn't make it work. However, I soon learned that even if I had, he has insanely high poison resist. Apparently. Not resistant to being set on fire, though. I quickly grabbed the Dark Moon Seance Ring, then sprint by the spawn camping Necromancer. I legit forgot that he was in this corner, and by the time I realized, it was too late. Second try, I got him, no Skull Lantern though. On the ground floor, I promised the Skelebros a really good time. I lied. This Necromancer drops a Skull Lantern. Why are you here? Alright, Pinwheel. His clones only have like 1 HP, so I used Soul Arrow to clear them out. Then for the boss himself, well, let's just say his family is huddled around this fire. Holy god, that was a dark joke given his lore, I'm sorry. So I'm not actually here for Nito just yet. I wanted to grab at least 1 Skull Lantern, but having 2 is nice. I'd say fighting the Hollowed Clerics is a pain, but I mean, Great Chaos Fireball go burr. Another level in Attunement, then I head back to the Demon Ruins to French one of these parasites. After a few sessions of awkward kissing, I am left scratching my head at why I would do such a thing. Moments later, there's egg on my face. Don't forget to wear a mouth guard, kids. Ingi will now act as a vendor to me, selling a copy of Poison and Toxic Mist, as well as giving me the cure to my splitting headache. Now it's time to return to the Undead Asylum and one-shot the hardest boss, these Tortalos. For fun, I tried to poison Oscar through the wall, but this room either has a magic barrier around it or he stands too far from the bars because it didn't work. But guess what did? That's right, war crimes! Next, I tried to poison the stray demon from the boss exit. After some fidgeting, I was able to launch the poison mist over the wall, but it landed too far from him. I also tried to shoot it through this little gap, but couldn't manage. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a pixel-perfect cast that would let this work, as he stands relatively close to a wall, so if you can hit that, you would also hit him, but I couldn't do it. So I simply drop into his boss arena, sprint off to the side where he doesn't notice me, and cast it. I actually missed the first one, but after repositioning, I could hit him with ease. While I'm waiting for him to croak, I want to take a minute to thank all my wonderful Patreons. Y'all help keep this channel alive, thank you so much for supporting, stay beautiful everyone. Alright Jane, let's go ahead and jump to the end of the fight, don't want to waste the beautiful people's time and all. This took 12 minutes. Don't do this. It was just because I was curious if it would work, and I mean, it did, but don't do this. Pick up literally any weapon that has bleed on it and obliterate him in less than a minute. Next, I drop the Skull Lantern for the crows, which means I have the Fog Ring. I'm sure you know where this is going, but before that, let's do some more optional bosses first. Gwendolyn. Wait, he's relatively close. Can I? Let me just reload. Nah, he teleports away. Damn, I really wanted to spit poison at him. I mean, I guess I could if I chased him all the way down the hallway, but nah. Also, what is this hitbox? Like, I think the game is registering his hitbox here when he reappears, but that's so weird. Oh well, Gwendolyn, more like Gwendoline, you know, like the steak, because I grilled him. I pump Attunement and head upstairs to do my best impersonation of Super Mario 64. Now, I can't jump attack the butt, but there is some likely unintended geometry I can land on to avoid the bone zone. Okay, it's on the left side. Okay, it's on the right side. I had to look this up, no shame. For Priscilla, I thought I would try to poison her. She's supposedly not immune to it or toxic, but it never procced. Then, when that didn't work, I thought I would try to use the Fire Whip on her for no reason. Don't look too hard into this decision. I actually thought I wasn't hitting, but apparently this attack has no poise damage, as when I threw a fireball, she was almost dead. Okay, then learned another new thing, I guess. The Firekeeper is angry with me, but she commits the cardinal sin of trying to buff, resulting in her becoming the Brazen Bull. That was also kind of dark, I'm sorry. Right, well, I figured it's time for Nito, and yes, I'm doing the old Slumbering Dragon Crest and Fog Ring trick to fight him one-on-one. Yes, gotta wait for him to shamble his bony ass over here. Seriously, I think I spent longer waiting on him than I did actually fighting him. 3 out of 4 Lord Souls down, but the final one? Well, that one has some issues. First, a trip to Quailana to get my flame to +1, then it's off to the DLC. So, what can 100 souls get me? Sanctuary Guardian is up first, and all I'm really looking to do is bait the wind attack, dodge out of the way, and then toss a fireball where the sun doesn't shine. Easy boss is easy. Artorias is a tricky one. The good news is that 3 Great Combustions is enough to break his buffing, albeit just barely. The bad news is instant death. The worst news is I got wombo comboed on my way back, so I guess I can kiss those 9 liquid humanities goodbye. Second try, my plan was to save Great Combustion exclusively for when he tries to buff, but like I mentioned way earlier in the video, having so many spells makes it hard to quickly shift through them, so my backup strat was to let him buff and just don't get hit. Surprisingly, this strat works, even if I was in the sweaty leaning forward in my chair position at the end. He doesn't need to know that though. Making my way through the township is pretty easy. I stop to grab the crest key, but do not pick up the silver pendant. This is because I'm a cocky motherfucker and didn't think I needed it. Finally, deep in the abyss, I find the real reason I came here. Not that. Not that either. Black Flame. This will become very helpful very soon, but first it's time to get a refund from Handy McGee. Ah, all sales are final, I see. I was honestly surprised at how little damage I was doing, especially considering it's possible to one-shot him with Pyromancy. I guess RTSR and Power Within really do carry the Uber mode. Anyway, the first thing to look out for is when he does his 5-hit combo. It's a great chance to get a hit in, but it will actually knock him out of his animation, letting him instantly follow up with another attack. Other than that though, his magic is the only thing to really look out for. I was really hoping he would die jumping into that lava pool, but it's okay. Mana is down, leaving only one DLC boss. So, a few of you have told me that I don't need to die to Calamite to start the encounter, I just need him to fly by and that's enough to make Hawkeye blast him from the sky. Well, apparently the trigger is after he flies by because I got rapid extracted by the dogs and it didn't count. This time I went into the arena and warped out. Maybe that's what you need, I'm not sure. Either way, he's grounded and it's time for a fight. First attempt ended when I accidentally got stagger locked in his fire breath, but I wondered if the wolf ring would help mitigate that as it's physical damage. I think. Well, sorta. I poised through the first hit, then got staggered locked to death. For the first time in the run, I equipped the red Tearstone ring, but I told myself I wasn't going to use hyper mode unless he accidentally put me in it. Which he did. But honestly, I didn't trust that I wasn't going to get roll caught by the next swipe, so I healed out of it, essentially wasting a ring slot. Also, you want to see how much damage Soul Arrow does? Yeah, Calamite has 5,400 health. That would take 318 casts with only Soul Arrow. And now I kind of wonder if a Soul Arrow only run is doable. Anyway, I like my Calamite well done. Right, that's everything except the Demon Runes. Time to go fight the fire immune enemies. First up is Ceaseless. I did think about fighting him normally, but nah, he doesn't deserve it. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a way to engage Demon Fire Sage without actually starting the fight, so no 12-minute poison session for me. That being said, he's not immune to fire damage, so that's not really a problem. Also, I love how this attack doesn't have a hitbox on his arm. It just feels nice running at him and being able to cast without worry. Well, time for the true final boss, the Centipede Demon. So, as you probably know, especially because I've said it like 3 times in the last 30 seconds, he's immune to fire. That, and his arena has a bunch of lava in it, so it's tough to maneuver around. Soul Arrow can help, obviously, but Black Flame actually deals physical fire split damage. It's hardly more effective even at the level of Pyro Flame I have, but all I really need to do is blow his tail off, which when killed drops the orange charred ring. This solves the arena damage issue, but not the kill the boss issue. Even if you land all 8 Black Flames, it will hardly make a dent in his health. In Uber mode, if combined with Soul Arrow, it might be enough. But is there another way? Yes! The Centipede Demon can be toxic and poisoned in one cast, which means all you gotta do is run away. I did use Soul Arrow to help speed the process along, but yep, Pyro only Centipede Demon. This means Quelaag is the only roadblock in a true Pyro only run. Glitchless. I believe there is a way with a particular glitch, but that's another story for another time. Moving along, we have the best boss in any game ever, the Bed of Chaos. I use the ancient magical skill of bust the balls and quit out. After that, I just dash like a madman towards the center. Overshot it a little, but that's okay. Magic Missile! Well, the long road is finally at an end. I don't have anything particularly special for Gwen, but I figured why not go full hyper mode just for the fun of it. I mean, he's not going to stand a chance, you just gotta dodge through his first attack and then hit him. Okay, you know what, fine, be that way, eat the Black Flame. Now, to do the only logical thing after such a fiery run, leave the world in darkness.